Oh, Millie, you want to say hi? Say hi. Oh, yes, that is the sound of your people. All right. Hello, I'm Erica, and I am here today with my November TBR. I've never made a TBR video before because I joined BookTube like 2 weeks into October, so there was really no point at that time. But I do kind of make personal TBR lists for myself, and I like to pick out my stack and put it on my bedside table and stare at it until it's all too overwhelming and I end up reading nothing that I've picked out. So, I'm sure making a video will go the same way, and I'll read about half of these, and I will read a bunch of other things that are completely different. But I thought it would be fun to do anyway. So, first up, in November, I have 2 books to finish that I'm a little over halfway through right now. I just talked about these in my October wrap-up. The first is The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And the second is Slouching Towards Bethlehem by Joan Didion. So I will finish those hopefully within the first few days of November. After I finish those, I'm going to try to read a few books off of my TBR for Read Kids Lit, which is a project that Lesley from Words of a Reader is organizing for November, and I will link her announcement video of that down below because I think it's a fun idea. And I'm on a temporary book buying ban, probably until Christmas-ish, until the new year. So I can't go out and buy all of the children's classics that I've never read but always have wanted to. But I picked up and then I dropped all over the floor. Christ. I picked up a few books off my TBR that I think could be considered like middle grades, kind of children's lit. It's as close as I could get. So I'm going to read these and join in on the fun. The first is The Graveyard Book. So listen, if I don't like this, I'm done trying to love Neil Gaiman. We're just going to be over. It's going to be done. But I think I will really like this, and I hope I really like this. The next book is Watership Down by Richard Adams. I'm not really sure if this is actually children's lit. It's listed on Goodreads as children's lit, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But I've been meaning to read it forever anyway, and it's about rabbits, which should be interesting. I'll try anything once. And lastly, I have Under Wildwood by Colin Malloy. This is the second book in the Wildwood Chronicles, and I read the first book in just a couple of days, even though they're pretty big, but they have beautiful illustrations in them. If I can find one to show you. Ooh, that's a cool one. That's a cool illustration. Woo! And the text is really large, so I should be able to get through this in just a few days again. And I'm looking forward to this because I liked the first book. So obviously those 3 books are not going to tide me over for too long. After that, I have a few things that I'm going to try to get around to. So every month, starting last month, I just started this last month, I want to read at least 1 classic, 1 nonfiction book, and 1 book of short stories. Just to make sure I'm diversifying my genres a little bit. Because if not, I will fall into the pit of literary fiction and classics, and I will never come out. Ever. So, the first one I want to read is the classic. This is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I've read Mrs. Dalloway, really enjoyed it. I hear that this is stylistically, can be a little bit more challenging to get through than Mrs. Dalloway, but I'm considering it a Virginia Woolf stepping stone. And I think I'll like it a lot. The next book is the nonfiction that is, I just recently hauled this. This is Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking. And I don't know if I'm going to like this. I'm kind of gambling on this one because when I say that I read 1 nonfiction book a month, it's usually like memoir or something similar to that. It's not usually something like this. I don't know how to describe this. So I guess it's like sociology based. So I don't know that I'm going to love this. Oh, look, there's like a quiz in the beginning. It's a personality quiz. Okay, I take it all back. I might like this a lot. I love personality quizzes. We'll see, though. I think if there's going to be 1 book that I don't actually read this month, it's going to be this one. But I'm really going to try. I'm going to try really hard. And then we get to the short stories. And this month I picked up Dear Life by Alice Munro. I've never read anything by Alice Munro, which is a shame because I hear she's absolutely wonderful. And I think I'm going to like this a lot. I'm sure I'm going to like this a lot. I really hope I'm going to like this a lot. After that, I have a couple of wild cards. I have picked up Juan Pablo Villalobos's Quesadillas, which I also recently hauled. And seriously, how bad could this book be? Because look, there's aliens and a UFO, a cow, and what I think is a slice of watermelon on the cover. I'm not really sure that a book with aliens and cows and watermelons in it could ever be bad. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's a tiny little thing. But I love this cover so much, and I want to put it on my actual bookshelf because I don't put my TBR books on my bookshelf. They're in a literal giant TBR pile because I don't have room on my bookshelves for books I haven't read yet. But I want to put this on my bookshelf because it's so pretty, and the spine is nice too. See? See? Look at that. That's very pretty. And it's short, and I'm going to read it. Yep. Okay. This is the third month in a row that this has been on my TBR. If I do not read this month, I'm giving it away. I'm serious. Because it's the third month in a row that it's been on my TBR. I have tried to start this book 3 times, and I have never gotten past page 8. The book is only 104 pages long, including like 30 pages of introductory notes, and like 10 pages of endnotes. This is The Lifted Braille and Brother Jacob. I said in my last Friday Reads video that I was going to read this. I didn't read this. Again, I didn't read this. I read 8 pages of it, and I stopped reading this again. I have never read anything by Eliot. I thought that this would be a good way to get into Eliot before trying to tackle something like Middlemarch. It's not. I'm probably not going to read this again. I'm going to give it away, and I'm never going to read it. And that's fine. I accept that. I'm trying really hard to get rid of books that I'm no longer excited to read. Because having a TBR pile full of books that you don't want to read anymore is very stressful and just not worth, it's just not worth it. So if I don't read this book this month, it goes away. It goes to a new home. But I'm going to give it one more try. I'm going to try one more time. Maybe it'll be the month that I read it. Again, The Lifted Veil and Brother Jacob by George Eliot. So yeah, that's my TBR for November. Hopefully I will read all those books. I'm not promising anything. But if there's anything in there that you saw that you liked and want to tell me how much you liked it, let me know. If there's something in there you saw and you hated and want to tell me how much you hated it, let me know. And what are you reading in November? Oh my god, there's a cat behind me again. My cat loves bookshelves. Look at her. She's like, here I am. And now she's done. So, yeah.